What's up, everyone? It's Wendy Fortino here with Maximum Muscle Report. I'm in Del Mar, California, standing in front of Whole Foods right now. I'm gonna take you guys grocery shopping with me, so let's go. Bone-sucking gnocchi. That would be the first one I grabbed. So when it comes to vegetables, they're not all created equally. They're all healthy in different ways, but some things that you want to watch out for. Here we have corn and we have asparagus. Asparagus is going to take a lot longer to digest. It's not starchy at all. It's very low in calories, very low carbohydrates. In fact, the carbohydrates that they do contain are pretty much a net zero because of the energy cost that your body has to digest them. On the other hand, corn is a lot more starchy, has a lot of sugar, has a lot of carbs. Still healthy, but it's definitely something to keep in mind if you're trying to fill your stomach up with a lot of vegetables. Two different types of vegetables here can make two completely different effects. So when I'm looking for a really good fat source, there's a lot of great sources, but I like to go with avocados because, first of all, avocados are really versatile. You could eat them with everything and they taste really good, so you always enjoy them. But also when it comes to behavior control, nuts are also a really good source of fat, but nuts are really hard to control yourself. So if you had the same amount of fat grams allotted and you tried to use nuts instead of, like, say, avocados, you probably would have a really hard time controlling yourself. However, avocados, you tend to not overeat avocados. So I like to go with my avocado for my fats, and that's that. Oh my gosh, these baby sweet potatoes are so cute. Except these are not actually sweet potatoes. These are yams. That is a bummer. So yams and sweet potatoes. That you'll notice a lot of grocery stores actually say sweet potatoes when in fact it is a yam. The way that you know is a true sweet potato actually is white, okay, and it's shaped the same, and a yam is more orange, okay. They're both healthy, right, and they both have very similar macros, almost identical, but the white sweet potato digests much easier, and actually you'll notice when you cook it, it's a lot smoother in texture, a lot creamier in texture, whereas the yam, it's a little bit more stringy, and it will tend to bloat you a little bit more. This goes through you much easier. So I like to cook these by baking them, breaks down the starches, and helps you to really absorb and digest all the nutritional value in the sweet potato. Okay, I just want to point something out. This is a little bit of a pet peeve of mine, but you notice there's a lot of labels that just like shout out at you, and one that shouts out all the time is post ingredients that something shouldn't have anyway. Like, I mean, meatballs, it says gluten-free meatballs. Like, why would meatballs not be gluten-free? Why would chicken not be gluten-free? That makes me worried, you know what I mean? Like, if I'm getting chicken, for example, and it says gluten-free, yeah, it should be. So when it comes to getting your chicken and stuff, I like to obviously get fresh chicken. And if you're really caught in a pinch, you know, if you're stuck out in Tennessee somewhere and there's like no fresh food around, obviously you're doing your absolute best with what you have to work with. But something that's frozen tends to be packaged with extra ingredients, preservatives, things are coated with like salts and sugars and things like that. This one has, you know, chicken broth and rice starch and salt, cane sugar, garlic powder, a lot of things to help preserve the chicken, and so it looks very harmless. Probably has some fake grill marks to make it look like it's been freshly barbecued. For that reason, I like to have very fresh chicken and make sure that I am able to control all the ingredients that go onto my chicken. Instead of frozen chicken, I go for the fresh, hormone-free, pasture-raised chicken breasts. Alright, if you guys have seen any of my previous videos anywhere, you'll probably have heard me say this before, but I'm going to say it again, and that is that I love to have beef probably once every few days. I'll have it because my body just craves for it and I perform much better with it. And when I do, I always go for grass-fed beef, because beef that is fed corn tends to be very unhealthy, and when beef gets unhealthy, when cows get unhealthy, they have to be fed antibiotics, and then you're getting the sick cow, you're getting the antibiotics, and it's just not a very healthy source of meat. When cows are fed with grass, they tend to be healthier, they tend to be disease-free, and so you're getting a much healthier, much more nutritious, nutrient-dense form of the beef. Okay, cooking your food can be tricky if your pan has not been coated with something to help you cook, right? When you get to the oil aisle, it can be really tempting to just grab a bottle of olive oil, call it a day. But olive oil can add a significant amount of calories that you don't even get to taste or enjoy to your food. Like this, for example, 1 tablespoon, okay, has 14 grams of fat, 120 calories. And guaranteed, if you're cooking your food, every meal that you cook, you're probably gonna use at least a tablespoon of olive oil, right? That's just like not even calories you get to enjoy. So I say, you know, if I'm gonna have that many calories, I want to know and I want to enjoy it, right? I like to use an aerosol cooking spray, because you can just coat your pan and cook your food, and this is, you know, essentially 0 calories by the time you just coat your pan. This is like the best way to go right here. Okay, how many of you have gotten a jar of peanut butter or almond butter or some kind of nut butter, put it in your house, and you go to reach for a spoonful, and that spoon is probably overflowing, right? Okay, that happens to everyone. This is not a unique thing, right? That is why, that's one of the reasons why I like to use avocados for my fat, but it's also why I think that the best way to go if you're gonna have nut butters is to get the packets. It's a little bit more expensive. Oh, this one has maple, so but not that one. But I would get just a plain classic almond butter. This is the best. So the classic almond butter right here, you know, you can't really go wrong because you're able to control your portion size without worrying, oh my gosh, did I overdo it? You know exactly how much you're getting. It's all measured out for you. So it's really, if you really want to watch yourself, realize that you're just human, and we're all human. Nobody's able to just get a jar of almond butter and go, I'm just gonna measure this out perfectly. I mean, we're just not, this just doesn't happen, okay? We're human. Right, so when you put seasonings or sauces on your food, that can really make things add up also. Make things add up. Can add up calorie-wise, it can add things up. I don't really mind salt so much unless I'm like right before a show. Obviously I manipulate my salt, but salt can actually be really good for you. You don't want to, you know, cut your salt so much for so long that you throw off your hormone that helps you regulate your salt and your water retention. So we want to keep it in, and that's why some sauces like hot sauce, like Cholula, Tapatio are great, because really all it is like vinegar and salt and spices. Very quickly you can turn a low calorie meal into a high calorie meal by throwing on some sauce. Like this is bone sucking yaki. That would be the first one I grabbed. Okay, this has, for 1 tablespoon, there's 8 grams of sugar in this, okay? That's significant. That's very significant, because I mean, most people are probably gonna have like 2 tablespoons, and by the time you go with 2 tablespoons of this sauce, you're talking about 16 grams of sugar. And I mean, all in all, if you're trying to, you know, watch your carbs, I mean, is that really how you want to spend your carbs? You know what I mean? Probably not. So I would say that this is the winner.